Invocation. Ms. Fabi, give the invocation, please.
Father, we ask your blessing on this meeting today. We ask you to be with the commissioners as they make decisions that impact the residents of our county. We ask that all actions and all decisions that are taken be for the good of the community and be done with the wisdom and the foresight and the thought that is provided through you. We ask your blessing on all of those that need your assistance, those who are ill, those who have special needs. For these things we pray. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Locker, would you lead us in pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Present.
Commissioner Loudon?
Present.
Commissioner Abeyta?
Absent. I'm not sure he's going to make it today. Is there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, we don't have any additions or corrections to the agenda.
Motion?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
Consideration of the minutes, the regular meeting minutes of January 8th, 2013. Is any additions or corrections? Comments, questions?
I'll make a motion we approve the regular meetings of January 8th, 2013.
I'll second. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
Correspondence, Commissioner Committee reports. Commissioner Loudon.
I have nothing.
Commissioner Loudon and I attended the CCI legislative reception Thursday night, I guess it was.
Sometime last week.
Anyway, 67 or 8 new commissioners. I think most of them were there. There's a lot of new representatives, legislative representatives, and senators, and it was more of a just try to meet and greet as many people as you could. A lot of new people and a lot of young people. So,
Well, everybody looks young to you and I.
I understand. But anyway, I guess that's it on my part. Public comment, Mr. Terri Marshall.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'm here to deliver the 2012 annual report for the Colorado Welcome Center. And so always it's a good way to start with visitation. And when we're looking at visitation this year, you can see that the number of visitors coming through the Welcome Center is down from last year. But I have to tell you, we're not down as much as other parts of the state. I believe we're down about 12%. There are some parts of the state that are down multiple digits, about 20%. Now, the great news is that we did see a resurgence around Thanksgiving to the end of the year. Our Welcome Center numbers were actually up in the month of December 24% over last year. And it looks like we're going to be up in January as well, the way we're trending mid-month. So perhaps we're resurging just a bit, and people will come out in 2013 and travel. The Colorado Tourism Office is anticipating we could be up as much as 5% by mid-year. So hopefully we're seeing a little bit of a recovery. The ski slopes are filling up in the north and the southwest, so ski industry is reporting good numbers. I think it's always interesting when you look at location data, and this year we did the top 5 rather than the top 4, and you can see that the top 5 states, which are Texas, Colorado, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Arizona, account for 72% of the total visitation coming into our part of the state. This is very significant. The Colorado Welcome Center spends millions of dollars advertising in Texas and Oklahoma. They have Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas-Fort Worth area as in their top advertising markets, as well as Albuquerque and Phoenix. So they are spending quite a bit of money knowing that these 5 states draw quite a bit of travelers. Now, if you look at it statewide, not only do these 5 states appear in the top 10, but in addition, you'll see Nebraska, Kansas, Utah, and California. So that kind, and of course, Colorado is statewide our #1 traveler through the Welcome Centers. And if you look at, and I'm sorry I'm not able to do a 2012-2011 comparison by state because I didn't come until June 2011. And prior to that, there was no individual state tracking data. So I would love to look at it, because what I feel in looking at the metrics is that Texas has stayed a little bit the same, maybe dropped a little bit, so has Oklahoma, but Colorado in-state travel has shot up significantly. And if you look at just the quarters comparison in 2012, you're going to see that more people are traveling in-state, but it's kind of the era of the staycation, so to speak. People are discovering their own neighborhoods a lot more these days. You can see that we've maintained 48 volunteers, as 22 of them live in the county, so that, including myself, so that is significant, I think. And you can see some of the events we did this year. Miss Carol Patrick and I cook pancakes for them every February around Mardi Gras and Valentine's Day. So we also saw a play. We did a 3-day study tour. It was our first time to hit the road, and we went to Denver in May, and that was a great amount of fun. We did a volunteer appreciation banquet at the new clubhouse, a potluck. We took volunteers that worked extra hours this summer to see the play Memphis at the Buell Theater in Denver. And the great thing about this is we did all of this on $8,000 for around 45 people. So we really do make our dollars stretch, and $7,000 of that came from the Colorado Tourism Office and $1,000 from the City of Trinidad. So we do make our dollars stretch, but we do try and make our volunteer program very, maybe the best in the region is what our goal is. And I think we've done that. We have maintained volunteers that have been with us easily for over a decade. So do you have any questions about that page, or any questions in particular about the Welcome Center operations?
I'd like to thank you for all you do, and the volunteers. Please tell them thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. We have a meeting next week, so I'll pass that on. And then I just did a short synopsis of a handful of the different projects that we've been working on. Now, I was here in July, so I tried to include things that have really happened or we've concentrated on since then. So this is really the second half of the year. Of course, you know, we got the Emerging Creative District earlier this year, and we filed several other reports, and Mr. Feinberg and I go to Denver quite often. In fact, we'll go in another week or so and do another meeting for Creative District. The way that it's working is the Colorado Tourism Office has funding for 12 creative districts. That's let me rephrase that. It's not the Colorado Tourism Office, it's Colorado Creative Industries. They have funding for 12 creative districts. In the initial round this last year, they funded 2, Salida and the Santa Fe District in Denver. That leaves 13 of us that are either prospective or emerging districts. So they have funding for 10 more, so this is their plan. In May, they will take the 13 existing prospective and emerging districts, and they will choose 5 of those out of those 13, and they'll certify them as creative districts. That will leave 8. Now, in December, they'll fund a second round, but they're going to open it up to the state. So those 8 would be in competition with anyone who did not apply the first time, who's now decided they want to be part of the program, like a Breckenridge or an Aspen or a Telluride. So in December, when that round opens up, they'll open it up to the state, and then they'll choose 5 additional ones. And then that is as far as the program is funded through 2015. So there will be 12 districts. They are trying to push legislation through which would pass a 50% state income tax credit for creative districts that are certified. CDOT's working out a logo so that, much like you see the byway logo when you travel the byways, there would be a creative district byway that could be put in every entrance into town, or like into New Mexico, as soon as you cross the state line, it might show the logo for creative district and say you're entering the Corazon de Trinidad creative district. So there's a couple of state agencies that are trying to partner and make the idea of being a creative district a little more attractive. So we feel like our best option, our best shot right now is to try and get certified in May. So Mr. Feinberg and I will do another round of grant writing in March, and we'll hopefully get it. We've got some stiff competition out there. And so that's Creative District. Trendy Fest this September is Trinidad's first independent film festival. They had 45 participants. The furthest came from Indonesia. They showed 16 different films. They had a great number of speakers in talking about the film industry in general, and they are on the calendar to do it again this next September. We handled all the registration at the Welcome Center. Veterans Memorial Services, we had 5 memorial services in 2012. We also participated with the Toys for Kids program, and during the last weeks of December, we gave out over 40. We, in conjunction with the volunteers, worked with the VFW to hand out 40 bags of toys and food to veterans' families. The QR code poster. You're familiar with QR codes, I'm sure. I see you all have your iPads, so I know you have that application where you can scan the QR code, and it takes you either to a website or something on the web. Well, working with the City of Trinidad Tourism Board, there's a poster at the Welcome Center that has the 8 top local attractions: the Mitchell Museum, the parks, the Trinidad History Museum, our community center, recreation. You scan any one of those and it takes you to about a 2-minute film that tourism created talking about these attractions. And so it's very interesting to see the different variety of tourists that come through the Welcome Center. Some of them don't really know what to do with the poster, but a lot of them you'll walk and you'll watch them scan something that they want to go do and sit there and watch the film. So that's also great because it's providing us metrics over which of the local attractions people are scanning. We also just included that QR poster code at the Chamber of Commerce as well, so it'll be at both places. As you know, Rural Philanthropy Days is set to be here in 2014, and we should begin the planning of that. In fact, we have a meeting this Thursday. The Art and Culture Commission in the City of Trinidad's CDOT grant, there's $33,000 allocated for art in public places. So Mr. Feinberg and I took the Art and Culture Commission in September to visit Colorado Springs Art in Public Places program. And that was really interesting, walking around and seeing what they've done in about 18 years to build a revolving sculpture program in their town. So it was kind of interesting. We kind of learned what not to do from them. And so hopefully, if we're able to spend those CDOT funds by the fall, you're going to see a couple of really nice, locally produced sculptures throughout the city. So that should be great. And recently, Louis and I attended a public art meeting in Denver, and I thought it was interesting. The guy who led it is the editor of the premier public art journal in the U.S. He's out of Minneapolis, and he gave this great quote. He said, "You can tell the character of a community by what you see when you enter that community." So, of course, he was advocating for public art, but think about that. The first impression you have of a community when you pull in is what you see. So we definitely want to make what people see be very attractive. And then the last thing is, on the City of Trinidad's, not the tourism website, but the government website, we worked with a videographer to produce several different segments. One is on real estate, one's on economic development, one's on education, and one's on healthcare. So we went around with a videographer out of California for a couple of 2 to 3 days and shot a lot of video, and those should be up and running this month. So anyway, those were just some of the activities done in the second half of the year. Any questions about those or any other projects you might know about that I didn't report on?
I commend you on all that you've done, and if there's anything that the county can do to help, we would.
Definitely. I have no problems asking. So, thank you.
I just have a question on
Sure.
the in-state travelers that you were mentioning.
Yes.
I can understand the Trinidad getting the traffic from New Mexico, Oklahoma, Texas. Where in the state of Colorado are they stopping into Trinidad's Welcome Center from? Southeast?
Our number 1 zip code is Colorado Springs, out of the Colorado travelers, outside of just Trinidad in general. A lot of locals. I think one of the things we've tried to do in the past 18 months is be very visible, and you wouldn't believe all the Trinidad and Los Animas County residents that come in that never have been into the Welcome Center. So definitely, 5 times more from Trinidad. But beyond that, we get a lot from Colorado Springs. I don't know if we're a favorite stop on the way south, or just it's kind of an odd. We've never really asked why, but we tend to get a lot from Colorado Springs. Yeah.
Do the memorials bring a lot of people?
Yes. There's no doubt that the memorials are very much appreciated, and anyone who has served or anyone who has a family member who has served will stop and look at them on their way in. I think that that was definitely a very good decision, and I think when I met with Mr. Cordova, when I very first started, he said he was city manager at that time when they made that decision. I commend that decision. You wouldn't believe the amount of people that come and stop and look at the memorials there. And I just don't think if they were somewhere else in town, people would see them or appreciate them as much. Because I know when I travel and I see something, a Veterans Memorial, I always stop and look. I always look for my last name, even though I don't have relatives from there. It's just something you do. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Terri. Terri Gordon, Twin Viral Services.
Yeah, my name is Terri Gordon. I'm representing Twin Viral Services. I'd like to pass out some pictures of our bear-proof containers.
Give them to Kathy there.
And just so you can see that they are certified bear-proof containers and what they actually look like. The black and white one is a 4-yarder. The others are 3 and 2-yarders. But they are certified bear-proof containers, which we do use in other facilities.
Commissioner, just as a word of note, Twin Enviro Services is one of the bidders on our waste disposal bid that we have coming up a little bit later in the meeting.
So how do I know that these are bear-proof? I mean, I can look at the picture, but what sets them apart from something that isn't bear-proof?
A bear-proof container has metal lids and bars on them. They're double-lidded. As you can see, the lids that are up are the smaller lid, which a person can reach in and lift up. If you pull the bar out, that same lid will open up widely for larger objects. The smaller lid is for smaller objects.
Okay, so you have to physically move a bar.
You have to pull the bar out in order to open it completely open.
Okay.
Okay, on the lids that are open on the smaller ones, and also on the 4-yarders, they do have the smaller. You reach in and you just click a little thing and it comes up.
So the smaller lids open without a bar?
Yes, yes, and they do have a clip to keep them locked also.
Okay.
Okay, compared to some that are available, which are just metal lids, and people will put chains across them, consider them bear-proof, but they're really not. Or you can put a cable across them, which we do on a lot of our regular containers. We will, but they're plastic lids, and you can put a chain across them, but the bears will tear those up pretty much. They'll get in them.
Tear up the lids or
Tear up the lids to the plastic containers, even if they do have, what do you call it, a cable or chain across them. These are certified bear-proof containers. We have them specially made.
The trash receptacles that do have a metal lid but that aren't latched are not considered bear-proof. Is it just does it have to be a plastic lid to not be non-bear-proof, or can a metal lid also be non-bear-proof?
A metal lid can also be non-bear-proof. It depends on how it's structured. Okay. And
so with a metal lid, if I can go up and lift it up, a bear can do the same thing. Is that what you're saying?
pretty much, a bear can open doors, you know. A bear can do a whole lot of things to a metal lid, and the quality of the bear-proof containers is also the metal. It's a thicker metal, it's a heavier metal, and comparison to some receptacles that we do have bear-proof, some are metal, but they're a lighter metal, which can easily be bent if you step on it, or you know, you keep putting it up and down enough times, or the driver may, you know, lift them back and forth, they come apart, you know what I mean? These are very good containers. I just thought I'd bring them so you can see what an actual certified bear-proof container looks like.
I guess I'm a little bit, why are we having this discussion?
Part of our bid package requests bear-proof receptacles.
Okay.
It's been in our bid for the past several years. I don't know that our receptacles have always complied with that requirement of the bid.
How do we know they don't, though? I guess I'm kind of like
That's why I'm
Mac.
asking the question about if a metal, I mean, I know our receptacles have metal lids, I just don't know what determines
Bear-proof.
a bear-proof lid or not. And it's interesting that you mentioned a certified bear-proof container.
Who certifies?
I'm not sure if.
So what does the bid say? I mean, what does the bid?
We have a bid with us.
And I brought one too. I have one available. Yes. And it states contractors must provide bear-proof receptacles at all locations.
It says bear-proof.
It says bear-proof.
On the top of our bids, it does.
It says contractor must provide bear-proof receptacles at all locations.
Thank you.
And I guess what I'm surmising is that we're not at this point, is that, or we don't know?
I don't know for sure. I don't know what our current receptacles, I mean, I know they have metal lids. I don't know what is considered a bear-proof. I mean, I think it's, I mean, I have seen bears jump on a metal lid and bend it. So I don't know if it is the gauge of metal. I don't know if it's the type of lid, if it's something that has to have a bar across it. I'm not sure what constitutes a bear-proof lid.
I have a question. I'm assuming most of our trash stuff would be paper. Why would a bear even want to get in it? So, Phil, do we have any trash things that, have we ever had trouble with bears?
Not that I'm aware of. The Chico may at the fairground or at the park where, especially during spring, fall, I think, where he throws in, people who use the park throw their food wastes and stuff, and that receptacle, I'm sure he's had issues there.
I guess I could see that one, but like here and everywhere else, I'm
But the jail might
Any
too.
place, yeah, the jail.
just curious why we'd even need bear-proof.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That, apparently, from what I understand, that's been in the bid package for a couple of years.
I
but
looked
I'm not
back,
sure.
it's been that way for quite a while.
I'm not sure the necessity or the genesis of that requirement.
Well, I mean, if we determine that we don't need it, then we have got to change the bid process so that everybody's on a level playing field.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm concerned, because I put in a bid for bear-proof containers, which was $1,210. And if I had put in a bid for non-bear-proof containers, my bid would have come fairly close to the other bids, which was $880, $40 difference if I bid non-bear-proof, which I'm concerned about because I didn't get the opportunity to bid non-bear-proof. I bid bear-proof strictly because it
Next
says
question
so.
again, how do we know that the ones we have are not considered or weren't considered bear-proof?
And we don't, it's just my concern that I went with what was stated and I put in a bear-proof container bid. And had I not, I would have been close to the bid which was taken by $40 is all. I might have lost it by $40, but I would have been closer with a non-bear-proof container bid than I was with a bear-proof container bid.
Phil, are those out at the fairgrounds all metal?
Yes, I believe they are.
And
But as far as having a bar through the lids, my suspicion is, at least the one at the Road Bridge Department, I know if it has one, we don't use it. I've never seen one even close to it. I think Chief puts a chain across the one there at the park. So I would guess that it could be said to be bear-proof.
but he's doing that himself.
I was gonna say, whether the vendor supplies that, or whether Chico's doing that, I can't say. Now, my suspicion is probably the same with the jail. If it's
Looks to me like we may need bear-proof containers in a place or two, but not everywhere, so.
And that's true, that's true. If you're serving food in areas, and that's what we require, you know, restaurants to have bear-proof containers because they have food in them. People that just are throwing regular trash really don't need them. And that's why, you know, the requirement on the bear-proof isn't necessary in all your locations, but it was required to bid it. And so that's what I did. And I just didn't seem like it didn't seem like, for some reason, I couldn't present my non-bear-proof container bid also.
So what we may have is we may need 4 bear-proof and 16 non-bear-proof, and.
In which case, we may want to reject the bids and rebid it with different criteria, depending on our location.
From what I'm hearing, the bid reads and what we're hearing, I think that would be appropriate. We need to be a little more specific.
Specific, I think so.
That's a pretty broad statement. Bear-proof could mean me sitting there with a shotgun. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to be able to present either or, you know, make the decision to whichever one you do decide to put bear-proofs at, give you the bid for that, and give you a non-bear-proof bid also. I think it would be fair.
That sounds much more appropriate, that we break it down and say that with X, Y, and Z, we need bear-proof, and we need to determine what bear-proof is, or from our point of view, what bear-proof is. These, without seeing them, and I don't have a mechanical mind, but every time those close, there's something to keep it from being opened.
Definitely.
So if you close that, then the bear can't just come and open it, whereas if we forget to put the chain back on, then the bear can open it.
They cannot open those. Once the lids are closed, the bear cannot reach in there and press that little lever there and lift it.
So the little doors, the little lids have a latch.
Yes, you
And if you
stick
want
your
to
hand
open
in
it
there.
big, you remove the bar.
You remove the whole bar. If you want bigger objects thrown in it, you remove the bar and both lids will come up and open, okay? The little latch door is for the convenience of smaller bags, and the large one is for larger objects, which probably maintenance would probably use that more.
Do you have some of these in use somewhere?
Oh, yes. The hospital, Trinidad Nursing Home, or Trinidad Inn, we have them also at Trinidad Lake, and we also have some at Santa Fe Trail Ranches, and they're all very happy with us.
You might check with Bob Holder.
And
DLW.
anybody is welcome to go to our facility and look at our bear-proof containers.
Well, thank you for enlightening me.
Well, thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it, and
Thanks.
Thank you.
thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Not.
Who are we gonna have decide what needs bear-proof where? Are you gonna get with Phil? Who?
I think Gary suggested I talk to Bob Holder, which is.
About what is
Probably a good
bear-proof and what's
Yeah,
not.
but where do we need them? I mean, if we're
wherever you need
saying,
them. Yeah.
if we're
I
saying
think-
we're gonna use 4 and 16 non-bear-proof, where do they go? Where do we need bear-proof?
Right. We'll have a discussion about that and see what, talk to the sheriff and to Phil. I mean, we occasionally throw food out here as well. I mean, it's not all the time, but it's, you know, so I think that's the determination in all our locations and what might be necessary in each one.
All right. County Attorney report.
Quickly, as you know, the legislature started back in session last week. There were a few things related to county business that, or bills that have already started to come through. Couple regarding open records requests, one regarding stationary statutes, And I will keep you all up to date on those as the legislative season comes through. Or if you see one that you want further information on, please let me know. Other than that, I have nothing else to report and would request an executive session.
Item 6, administrative report, County Administrator, Ms. Favick.
Commissioners, the only thing I wanted to mention was, as you can see by the fencing up in front, PVC is getting ready to start our project out here today, or hopefully today, but if it's not, weather's not conducive, maybe tomorrow. But we've had some discussion about the access to the courthouse during the interim period when the front handicap ramp to the entrance is blocked off. It won't be blocked off right away, and it won't be blocked off the whole time. But when it is, we have the portable aluminum ramp ordered for the front lobby area so that folks coming in through the courtyard can have, if needed, an ADA accessible ramp to get down the 4 stairs to the elevator area if they need to go to 2nd or 3rd floors. We've also ordered some signage so that we can direct the folks that park out here on Maple around to the back so they can find the entrance. Once we get back there, if there is a doorbell, if there's any assistance needed, that they can do that. The security officers in the Sheriff's Department has already met to discuss security measures that they're going to put in place for people that come in that entranceway. They'll be wanding and they'll be directing people through the scanner if need be as well.
Is everybody going to be coming in that door at some point?
Probably for about a week to a week and a half, everybody will need to come in that door.
And the ramp is still in the mail?
The ramp was supposed to be here, I think, well, they said a week from the 8th, so that's today. So I'm hoping it's here today or tomorrow at the latest. It's a very quick piece of equipment to put together, so once it's here, it's a matter of an hour or two, and it'll be ready to go up. And I think that's all I have at this point.
And the airport, the water line, is that?
I talked to Bob Just on Friday, and he said he is working on that, and he was hoping to have a report ready for you this week.
Thank you. Road and Bridge Supervisor, Mr. Dornkamp.
Good morning, Commissioners. The only thing I have is, and not sure if this is the appropriate venue to bring this up, but our fuel emails have been sent back and forth whether or not to purchase a significant quantity of fuel at this time, since it appears prices perhaps are stable. Your thoughts on it? I know, as per the email I sent you folks, that it appears, at least by the research that I've done, the prices are to be stable and possibly even drop, but who knows? So I guess I need some direction. Do you want us to make a major purchase, for lack of a better way of describing it, or commit ourselves to some fuel as we discussed?
And Phil, as far as you know, do the fuel vendors, will they do that? Will they accommodate a larger purchase but only deliver small portions at a time?
I have not checked with any of our
So we don't know.
vendors. I guess what I would like is to get some direction. I don't want to pursue that if there's no interest in it, and who knows what fuel prices are going to do.
I am interested. I've done it the last 3 years. The first year I did it, it ended up costing me money. I bought a bunch of fuel and it went down. The last 2 years, I bought a bunch of fuel and the price went up. So, but check, Phil, if you would, and then I think that's the best way is just ask, and then we'll know. The other thing is, and I didn't bring it up, but Phil and I and some of the foremen's met out at Pinion Canyon over this, putting this calcium chloride on the roads. Phil, you want to report on that a little bit?
Yeah, the maneuver site took us for a tour of the facility, and it was interesting the way that they apply their chloride. It's something that I have not heard any other entity do. They basically just shoot it on top of their roads without any water to help with the penetration, but they seem to have good results with it. At least the roads we drove appeared to be in decent shape. But again, I couldn't get a real answer from any of them on how much traffic they have per day on their roads. They say during maneuvers, of course, they're gonna have a lot of traffic, but for an annual ADT, average daily traffic count, they couldn't give me an answer, so I really don't know what kind of traffic is run up and down those roads. I do know when like I said, repeating myself, when maneuvers are on, there's a lot of traffic and it's heavy traffic too, so.
Did you ask that question, what's it like after you've had one of these maneuvers?
No, sir, I didn't. But they said that they maintained that one stretch of road that has a lot of traffic on it. When they have maneuvers, they've only maintained it once per year, and I think he said that was this past fall. I guess I'm more interested in what their traffic counts are on an annual basis. That would give me a better feel for how much impact those roads actually have, and I guess that's the question that I didn't get answered and is in my
Just
mind.
exclude the Army starting in September when all the hunting seasons start. They do get a lot of traffic, and I was in there, had the opportunity to be in there in October for 3 days. I guess that's why I wanted to go look at it. Every morning, those roads look like it had rained, but it collects the moisture out of the night air. And then by evening, they look dry, but they're not dusty. And I think the other day when we come out of there, it's been a long time since they've had any moisture. We weren't stirring any dust, so. Anyway, I come away with a lot of questions too, Phil, about, I don't know whether that's something we want to do or not, but I wished we'd have tried some of it even last spring, because.
Well, as I mentioned before, in the past, we did try it. In the early 2000s, we were applying chloride with mixed results. Some of the foremen and some of the operators didn't like it because once it did start potholing, and it will pothole eventually, there was issues with trying to get those potholes cut out because it doesn't penetrate a long ways through the surface of the gravel. Generally, when you get in with a maintainer, it'll come out in large sheets, for lack of a better way of describing it, and then you got to bust those sheets up. I don't know if we weren't maintaining our roads properly. I talked with Pueblo and Weld counties at length, and they say that when they go back in to maintain those roads, when they get potholes, they do it with water trucks, which we did at the time also, but perhaps we weren't just getting it wet enough. I don't know. But I think there's an opportunity to maybe try it again. I'd like to. And also, whenever we did it back in the early 2000s, we only did one application a year. Me being conservative like I am, sometimes that isn't a good thing because we shot it light and then we only did it once a year. And talking with the other counties, if they shoot it light, they'll apply it twice a year. So that perhaps was another error on my part that if we do decide to do this, we may want to relook at how we apply chloride.
Unfortunately, the guy that's had most experience with it, they didn't let him give us the tour. That was his comment, I think, was they do it twice. Should do it twice, but not near as much as they do it, so.
You mean not put as much on?
Yeah,
They put on more than,
that's his comment.
because it's not their money.
Could be. But anyway, I wanted you to see the roads, the condition they're in. And it's been, how long did he say since they did that? Over a year?
Yeah, I think they haven't shot chloride in well over a year because they focused most of the chloride application up in the springs at Fort Carson because they're closer to more residential areas. So out there where we're at, they don't get too excited about it.
So your experience in 2000 was that when you went in to grade it, that maybe we'd pull up a chunk 3 feet
Correct.
long.
He would
And
basically.
then you have to break that all up again and relay it, and that chloride has gone away then.
Correct. The chloride, as with anything else, will eventually get dusted and fly out into the atmosphere, et cetera.
I guess that one concerns me a little bit, that if we don't have operators that are used to this, that we could.
That was the big issue, was to get the road where you wanted it and how you wanted it. Because once you applied this stuff, leave it alone. I think Phil's discussion and some counties, like Weld County, they're mixing it. It's a pretty sandy country. It's not like here. It's not rocky or adobe dirt. Anyway, the question was brought to me, some people with some health concerns about the dust, so it may be something we have to address whether we want to or not. Just to find out all we can about it before we even try it. That's
If we did do it, do you have some roads in mind that you'd like to try it on?
I'd like to try it on the Golden Air Road. We've placed gravel on that road in different segments of it over the past couple or 3 years, and I'd like to try it on some of those segments where we put gravel in, see how they hold up, and then we get a good comparison. Those that are, those that aren't, those segments that are and aren't, and see which hold up longer, and if we have issues with maintaining them. I wouldn't want to do the whole stretch. I would rather do a short segment and see how it works.
It seems to me like it's something we ought to continue to at least look into.
Okay. And I'll ask then our fuel vendors and see if they have such a program where we can purchase large quantities of fuel at a certain price, and then they hold that price through that entire amount of fuel.
And I imagine if we do something like that, it's probably not going to be at a current price, because if it's low right now, but it could be at an average that they probably would compute throughout the term of whatever months we would use to purchase this quantity.
They
So it's
will
something to
look
be
at the
aware of.
futures price, they'll put in their markup,
Right,
and they'll do it that way.
Yeah.
And then they'll cover themselves that
in
day.
case there's, yeah. in case.
So I guess since we've got this discussion going, we spoke with an individual some time back, and I can't recall the gentleman's name, but at that time, there was some talk about possibly hedging on fuel, and I guess that is
I
off
think
the table.
governmental wise, we can't, right? Or did you ever?
I can't remember what the outcome of those discussions were. I remember we had them, and I remember there was some thought against it, but I can't remember. off the top of my
Governmentally,
head.
it's tough.
It's tough,
to do it.
yeah.
I mean, and there's no difference except you only putting up 1/10 of the cost as opposed to all of the costs, so. I mean, it works the same way. I mean, that's what they're gonna do is that if you go out and buy 100,000 gallons, they're gonna cover themselves that day when they do it, and so their profit is locked in.
All right, I'll ask our local vendors.
okay.
Thank you.
Item 7 is new business, Ms. Faddick.
New business, item A, is consideration of a letter of support for the governor's cabinet visit to southeast Colorado. Commissioners, as you will recall, Ms. Marshall came before the commissioners last week to describe what the program is and asked for a letter of support from the county, and we have one prepared for your consideration. To address to Action 22, Incorporated, attention Kathy Garcia, P.O. Box 697 in Pueblo, Colorado, 81003. Dear Ms. Garcia, the Los Animas County Board of Commissioners would like to offer our enthusiastic support for the City of Trinidad's proposal to host the Governor's Cabinet here during their visit to Southern Colorado this summer. We are excited about the opportunity to join with City Council, Trinidad State Junior College, Pioneer Natural Resources, and other community partners to welcome the State Cabinet to our area and share dialogue on issues that are important to this region. We look forward to discussing such topics with the Cabinet as economic development, transportation, healthcare, education, and business. I have education twice, and business. The Board of Commissioners is grateful to Action 22 for facilitating this important visit, which will allow us to share our strong community relationships with those in state government. We thank you for your consideration of this request, and we strongly urge your approval of this proposal to bring Governor Hickenlooper's cabinet to Trinidad this summer. Signed by the county commissioners.
Comments or questions?
I'd make a motion to approve this letter and take out
The
one
second
education.
I'll
Maybe
second that.
we ought to leave it in so that they understand that we're really
We really mean that.
emphasizing education.
Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
We'll get that corrected and get it ready for you, Terry. Okay. Thank you.
Item B, Ms. Fabic.
Item B is consideration of application for stormwater discharge associated with sand and gravel mining for the Jolly Pit.
Commissioners, before you should be a stormwater permit for the Jolly Pit. As with all of our gravel pits, we're required to develop a stormwater management plan. That's what this is. And I'd ask the board to permit Chairman Hill to sign on all the appropriate lines, and please do it in blue ink.
Comments or questions? This is a yearly deal, right? Bill?
This is the initial Jolly Pit stormwater permit, and then annually we'll have a resubmittal of a permit plus a $75 permit fee per pit, so.
Is the governor wanting his? Okay.
And this one is how much, Phil, for the initial?
This doesn't have a price on it, they'll send us a bill later.
Oh, okay.
Or it didn't have a fee established with it, they'll send us the bill later.
So, but annually it is 75?
It'll be 75 unless those fees have gone up
Okay.
since this past fall.
So we kind of give them a blank check.
Not yet.
Okay. Well, if everything is in order and you're okay with this, Counselor, I would make a motion to approve the permit.
Second. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
Item C.
Item C is consideration of submission of the Branson Gravel Pit annual fee and report to the Colorado Division of Reclamation, Mining, and Safety.
Before you, Commissioners, different department of the state of Colorado. This one's to the Division of Reclamation, Mining, and Safety for our Branson pit. It's located east of Branson. It's our annual submittal of a fee and report. And it's pretty much standard like the rest of them are, and I'd ask the board to allow Commissioner Hill again to sign on the appropriate lines.
And it is accompanied by a fee. of
Yes,
seven-
this
seven
Division of Minerals, when you submit their annual report, they do want their fee with it.
Any questions, comments?
So do we do a stormwater permit for this one also?
It's done. We'll have to submit the annual report. My suspicion is next fall. Generally, we have to submit those in the fall, and then we have to pay the bill shortly thereafter. But we've already submitted it for a 12-month period.
Probably they would be happier if we didn't send in the report, just sent the check, and they don't have to dispose of that paperwork. I would make a motion that we do that, send in the whole thing, check and.
Second.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
Item D.
Item D is consideration of Colorado Department of Transportation mileage certification total as of December 31st, 2012.
Commissioners, before you is our annual submission to the Colorado Department of Transportation of our mileage, which they use to help calculate a portion of our Highway User Trust Fund monies that we receive to help fund the Road and Bridge Department. And we've added a little bit of asphalt through the millings that we placed this past year. And also there's a 2,300ths difference in the total mileage. And that comes from an error that I found in some of our mileage. And I don't think this is going to be unusual. There have been times when myself or the foreman have actually had an opportunity to go out and drive a road with an odometer reading and find some errors. But we submit it the way it is until, and the state understands that there's errors out there that we haven't come across yet. So our total mileage is down by 2,300, but I think our asphalt's up by about 7/10. And that comes from, again, repeating myself, the millings we placed this past summer. Also, and for those streets that are ineligible, some of those are joint jurisdictionals. For instance, along the Baca, Bend, and Otero County lines, there are county roads that lie right on those county lines. So a portion, rather than splitting the road actually in half, because the state at their end can't do that, what they do is, for instance, if it's a 2-mile stretch, they'll give us a mile, and then the adjoining county will take the other mile. We actually have some of those roads even here in the city, with the city of Trinidad, 71.5 out at the end of Oaks that way also.
Questions, comments? Motion to approve.
I'm gonna let you do this one.
Why?
All right, I'll do it.
Second. Just ask why. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loud?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Item E, Ms. Abbott.
Item E is consideration of bid results for routine waste disposal for 2013. Commissioners, as Ms. Gordon alluded to in her presentation, we did offer a bid opening on January 10th. We did have 2 bids, one from Right Way Disposal for $845 and one from Twin Enviro Services for $1,210, which included all bear-proof containers. I've been looking online a little bit. There is definitely criteria for certified bear-proof containers. I think we do need to make an analysis if that's what we need, and if so, where we need those. And it'd be my recommendation that we reject all bids until we do that research.
So moved.
Ms. Fabic, in this one bid, it says, "We have in the past and will continue to help when the county calls for extra pickups at no additional charge." Is that happening? Do we know that for a fact?
According to Kenny Bowman, yes, when there's been a need for extra pickups, according to him, they have come in and take care of that at no charge. That's not something we asked for in the bid. That is just something that they have offered at their own volition.
Okay.
Would that be appropriate to offer that in a bid?
You know, I would think that that probably would want to be spelled out if that is offered or not, you know, or not available. Like I say, it's not something we asked for, but, and I don't know how often we've had to ask for it. I would say probably around fair time or situations like that. But I will talk to Kenny and see how often that has happened and what the need is.
So you make a motion to rebid?
Yes.
Second?
To get a criteria established.
Be a little more specific about what we're doing.
We have a motion and a second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loud?
Yes.
Item F.
Item F is consideration of bid results for stationery printing services. This is something that we are required to do as well. It's actually in state statute that we receive bids for our stationery services. I'm not surprised that that's something that's being revisited this year, because I think the statute's probably quite old and a little antiquated as far as what stationery, quote unquote, you know, counties use. So, but that being said, we do have a list of common stationery items that we typically include in our bid by the various offices. You'll see on the bid award form that it's broken out by department and what forms that they typically use. This doesn't mean that's all the forms that they use, but these are the most commonly used and what the pricing request would be for those forms. We had one bidder for this bid. It was from South Mountain Printing for a total of $6,379. That is not a dollar amount that we are held to as a hard and fast rule. That is because the quote is broken down as to if we needed to order envelopes, it would be this price if we need to, in those quantities. So that's how it's priced out, and that's typically how we are billed throughout the year for stationery.
So if we use, for instance, medical screening form, we use 50,000 of those, it'll be at that price.
Correct.
Make a motion that we approve the South Mountain Printing for stationery.
I'll second. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Loud.
Yes.
Item G.
Item G is consideration of bid results for custodial services located at the Sheriff's Department. Commissioners, again, this bid was opened on January the 10th. We had one bid from S&S Services in the amount of $180 a month. I believe that's the same contractor that we're using at the present time.
Is everything satisfactory?
I talked to the sheriff this morning, and he was satisfied with the services they've been receiving from this contractor.
Make a motion that we approve S&S Services, is that what it is?
Yes.
For $180 per month for janitorial services.
Second. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
Item H.
Item H is consideration of a liquor license renewal application filed by Tony Bernal, doing business as Walt's Corner, located at 70101 Highway 160, Branson, Colorado, 81027.
Commissioners, the application is in order and there have been no calls to this facility in the past year.
Make a motion that we approve the liquor license for Tony Bernal, Walt's Corner.
It's not making no heat. It was No, I just, I'm watching you get, I thought I better turn the heat. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
It didn't actually turn on either, so I don't know. We may have to have a look at it. Item I.
Item I is consideration of resolutions approving abatements for Ute Real Estate Company on schedules number 14291300-R, 14291301-R, and 14291302-R.
Read the resolution.
And Commissioners, there's three of them. Do you want me just to read through all three of them, or do you want to handle each one separately?
Probably best to do
Separately?
each one separately. And
There's-
just a little bit of background, Commissioners. This is something you held a hearing on last year, but the and you approved the abatements. The resolutions themselves, or the final paperwork that needs to be done to be sent to the state.
Do the resolutions get sent to the state as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the first one is a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners approving an abatement of property taxes 2011 for Ute Real Estate Company in care of Dyco Diversified Incorporated on Schedule 14291301-R. Whereas, the County Commissioners of Los Animas County, State of Colorado, at a duly and lawfully called regular meeting held on August 7, 2012, at which a public hearing was held and the following members were present: Commissioner Gary D. Hill, Commissioner Mac Loudon, and Commissioner James V. Hill, with notice of such meeting and an opportunity to be present having been given to the taxpayer and the assessor of said county, Daniel Espinosa, being present, and petitioner of Ute Real Estate Company not present, And whereas the said county commissioners have carefully considered the within application and are fully advised in relation thereto. Now be it resolved that the board agrees with the recommendation of the assessor and the petition be approved and an abatement be approved for property tax year 2011. Assessed value, $261,058. Taxes to be abated, $26,943.27.
Make a motion that we approve resolution for abatement of property, Schedule 14291-301-R.
Second. Roll call?
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
The second resolution is a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners approving an abatement of property taxes 2011 for Ute Real Estate Company in care of Dyco Diversified Incorporated on Schedule 14291302-R. Whereas the County Commissioners of Los Animas County, State of Colorado, at a duly and lawfully called regular meeting held on August 7th, 2012, at which a public hearing was held and the following members were present: Commissioner Gary D. Hill, Commissioner Mac Loudon, and Commissioner James V. Hill, with notice of such meeting and an opportunity to be present having been given to the taxpayer and the assessor of said county, Daniel Espinosa, being present, and petitioner of Ute Real Estate Company not present. And whereas the said county commissioners have carefully considered the within application and are fully advised in relation thereto. Now be it resolved that the board agrees with the recommendation of the assessor and the petition be approved and an abatement be approved for property tax year 2011. Assessed value $192,502. Taxes to be abated $19,867.75.
Make a motion that we approve the abatement of property taxes on Schedule 14291-302-R.
Second. Roll call?
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
The third one is a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners approving an abatement of property taxes 2011 for Ute Real Estate Company in care of Dyco Diversified Incorporated on Schedule 14291300-R. Whereas the County Commissioners of Los Animas County, State of Colorado, at a duly and lawfully called regular meeting held on August 7, 2012, at which a public hearing was held and the following members were present: Commissioner Gary D. Hill, Commissioner Mac Loudon, and Commissioner James V. Hill, with notice of such meeting and an opportunity to be present, having been given to the taxpayer, and the assessor of said county, Daniel Espinosa, being present, and petitioner of Ute Real Estate Company not present. And whereas the said county commissioners have carefully considered the within application and are fully advised in relation thereto. Now be it resolved that the board agrees with the recommendation of the assessor and the petition be approved and an abatement be approved for property tax year 2011. Assessed value $237,278. Taxes to be abated $23,830.79.
Make a motion that we approve the abatement of property taxes on Schedule 14291-300-R.
Second. Roll call?
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
Item J?
Item J is consideration of designating Kim Chavez as official representative to County Health Pool. Commissioners, you have a form before you that indicates that Commissioner Hill as our official representative and Human Resource Coordinator Kim Chavez as a designated alternate representative to the County Health Pool. She is also our designated correspondent, which is appropriate since all invoices, correspondence, billings, things like that will go through Kim's office.
So moved.
Second.
Roll
Well,
call?
now I'm confused. Roll call. Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes. Item 8.
Item 8 is consideration of bills and payroll for the first half of January 2013.
You can see there, the payroll report for the first half of the month is $168,476.10. And then page 11 and 12 are following that payroll is all the details, departments and individuals and things, if there's any questions on that. Page 11 is the check register, which is really through basically the first week or so of the month through January 9th. The next one will actually be run tomorrow. And the total disbursements through the 9th was $61,775.41. And there are, some amounts there. If anyone has any questions on any of those,
What is the master's touch?
Yeah, it's, well, I had
Master's Touch is
2269.
That's the
Yeah.
company that the treasurer purchases their tax notices from.
yeah, that's all the checks and forms and things that the treasurer's offices uses, and it's they needed to replenish that for the new year. The Tyler Technologies amount there is the treasurer's system costs as opposed to our lease purchase payment.
Questions back?
No, good. Make a motion to pay the bills.
Well, I didn't mention, but the last page, 13, is just the amount of withholdings from the end of the year that were paid the first, part of the month. So not a lot there, but that's where it's from. It's just the withholdings from the 31st payroll that are paid first disbursement period.
Any other questions? I'll second Mac's motion. Roll call?
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
Item B.
Item B is acting in its capacity as the Board of Human Services, consideration of accounts payable for the first half of January 2013.
Did you have a chance to look at them? Want a chance?
I did, but I don't remember just when, but it was last week, so it has to be these, right?
No, this is a new set.
They're new? I'm new.
It's a brand new set. She
I
finally
haven't
did.
looked at them.
Yesterday?
They just came in.
Approve them or not?
No, I want to look at them.
Okay. Motion we table that till.
Heard that?
Is there till later in the day? We might have a chance today to look at them.
Can you approve them before you get out of session and then close out of the meeting? Can they get that done?
If you want to defer them until after executive session and then
That'd be
you have a
okay,
chance
you
to
can
look
look
at
at
them
them.
before you close the meeting.
I would make that statement.
If they're in handy, Kathy, would you bring them up here?
I can bring them to you,
Okay.
you can look at them, sure.
Thank you. So motions to defer to
Later
later?
in the meeting?
Second. Roll call?
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
Item 9 is executive session. We are requesting the attorney to go into executive session under CRS 24-6-4024B, receiving advice on specific legal matters, and CRS 24-6-4024F, personnel matters. Motion?
So moved.
Second. Roll call?
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Loudon?
Yes.
I will make a change.
Yeah.
Yes, she is. Well, we need a new letter.
Oh, I probably grabbed,
No, no, we need
I
a
sent
new-
it to you,
Yeah,
yeah.
we need a new letter. We don't have our new letter. Oh, okay. We're waiting. I talked to her.
I did, I don't think I opened it. Oh, yes, I did open it, about this. Okay, so how long has that airport been there and how long has there not been a phone there?
He's got it figured out, just let it.
I just have one question about the cell phone. How do we keep it charged?
It's not required to be up for the
Oh, okay. So when you leave, you put the cell phone out there, it's charged.
We do. So he's got a cell phone he can put out there.
It just cracked me up. Yes, I did read it, and thank you for
Because
taking
then
care of
I'm
that.
gonna say that's not appropriate.
Hey, Steve.
That'll take another 30 days, and by then he'll be moved in and then it's all
I'm sorry, I can't help it.
Well, they didn't get it, that's what was their bid. Their bid right away was